Hello, everyone that's joining. Trying to see if I can share this. I don't know. I actually don't know how to do it. But we are waiting for a few more people to get in here. Hey, Turtle. Hey. So, yeah, we're waiting on a few more people, obviously. It's just a couple of us in here right now. Um, and forgive me for my tardiness. I had mommy duties and I was rushing to try to get back so we can get started. So forgive me for my tardiness. Um, I had to fix me a little, oh my goodness, and I wasted. Had to fix me a little tea to try to get started. Thank you for the hearts, as you know how this TikTok acts. It wants to cut me off if it's no interaction. So I appreciate you for liking, and we're just gonna keep this thing rolling. I'll still give it a few more minutes since I did come in a little bit later, a little bit after 4. I'll give it a few more minutes for people to join us, and then we'll get right into class. I will kind of go over last week just a bit so we can be caught up, and then we'll move on. We are in week 5. Those of you who started with us and you've stayed with us, I appreciate you so much. We are already in week 5 of anxiety and the anxious brain. Isn't that something? That time just went by. It really went by. Let me, if y'all don't mind me sipping on live, I need to sip me a little tea here. But again, thank you for coming. It did go fast, Turtle. We only have 3 more weeks left. So we're going to finish this off, pack it in, take a breather, and then we'll think about it and see if we come back. How about that? So just a reminder of last week. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I know people will end up coming in later, and that's fine. They'll just jump in where we are. Hey, Monica, how you doing? Hey. And hey to everybody that's coming in. I'm just going to review really quickly last week. So last week, and I didn't even put the title of this class on here, but you know what it is. If you've been here, you know. This is Anxiety and the Anxious Brain. Last week, we went over triggers and what could be a trigger. What triggers are those things that activate our anxiety, right? I like to think of them kind of like a noun. It can be people, place, or thing. So it could be an emotion, a situation. It can be, again, a person. It could be a place that's familiar. It can also be sounds or body sensations or thoughts and memories. All of those can be triggers. So we went over that last week. I won't go deep into that. We talked about where they come from, especially the environmental stressors, how a lot of us are experiencing that today, you know. But we experienced that anyway. So we talked about all that. I want to get into our lesson for tonight, week 5. We're talking about the best anxiety management plan, those treatments that work for a lot of people. And starting out, I want to talk about one particular treatment, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. So we're definitely going to get into that and discuss how it became the gold standard for treating anxiety. All right, so we'll definitely talk about that. Hey, Jock, I saw you jump in here. Hi. Well, first of all, just as a form of introduction, have you ever just kind of Googled, like most of us do, how to stop anxiety? Hey, Lockleisha. I want to pull it up. Well, I'm glad you're in here. Show me your beads, Lockleisha, because you missed class last week. You know I'm going to call you out. But I'm thankful that you joined today. But have you all ever just Googled, like, how do I stop this anxiety? How do I stop feeling this? And then you've seen a million different reasons or ways or things you can do to stop your anxiety. Anything from supplements, essential oils, cold plunges, hypnosis, meds and yoga is what I was trying to say. Meds or yoga, And then, of course, CBT. I think a lot of people may have seen CBT. And that's what I kind of want to go over today. Again, I want to thank you as more people are coming in. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you for being here. If you have been from the beginning, I really appreciate you. And I will say now, and I might remind you again, you know how TikTok loves to do me. Want me to prove that I'm a human and not another machine. So I really need your interaction, your likes and shares and comments, because that'll show that there is engagement and we're rolling. Okay. So little housekeeping stuff so that I won't have to pause and start over or anything. But CBT, that's what we're talking about today. Hey, Deborah, welcome in. That's my bestie. Look at you, girl. Another social worker. Another one that's in the field. So I'm going to talk about CBT. CBT is one of the most effective techniques for anxiety because it teaches you how to retrain your thoughts. And that is what we're going to focus on tonight, because our thoughts dictate our emotion, which then affect our behaviors. And I'll show you this. I'll go ahead and show it to you now. Let me see if I can flip this over. This thought triangle or cognitive triangle. Let's see. Is it going to let me flip it? Alrighty. So that you all can get that. I hope it doesn't move too much. So you can screenshot that. So this is the cognitive triangle that I'm speaking of. This shows how our thoughts and emotions and our behaviors affect one another. So it starts off with a particular situation. Then we have a thought about that thing, and those thoughts induce some type of emotion. And then from those emotions, we behave a certain way. And a situation, again, can be anything that happens in your life, which triggers this cognitive triangle that we're looking at. Those thoughts are really how you interpret the situation. For example, somebody, a stranger, whoever's looking at you, and they have an angry expression. You might then think, oh, what did I do? Or, oh my goodness, they don't like me. Or you may have some kind of thought, right? And from that thought, you develop emotions. Those are the feelings, you know what emotions are. Happy, sad, angry, worried. But just using that example, you might feel insecure or disliked or any of those things, right? Because of the situation that provoked that thought, and now you're feeling a certain way. And then what happens? You might behave a certain way. You might escape, like leave the area, leave the room, wherever this is happening. You may roll your eyes at the person or stare them down. Or you may just let Amy take over and go up there and slap the shit out of them. Who knows? You know, it's a behavior that you may engage in due to that initial thought that caused a certain emotion. So that is our cognitive triangle. Everybody understanding that cognitive triangle? And I want you to see what I wrote down at the bottom of it. At least you laughing at me. I mean, you just might. You looking at me funny? I might. Hello? Excuse me? Y'all not even looking at me, but you can imagine the look on my face, right? If somebody just looking at you and won't say hello. Yeah. But that's where it all starts. It doesn't start with the behavior. It starts with, one, a situation, but most importantly, that thought about the situation, how you interpreted it. But I want you to see the little statement that I have down here at the bottom, this key takeaway. Just because I think something doesn't make it true. That's where we have to start learning to reframe these thoughts or challenging these thoughts. And that's what cognitive behavioral therapy does. That's where it comes in. All right, I'm going to bring you back around to me real quick. Let me pull up my notes. Flip. And we're back. Oh, I'm sorry, Denise. How do you, maybe somebody can answer Denise, how do you hide the comment so she could get the screenshot? Once you get that answer, I'll flip it back around. Okay. Slide to the right. All right, Denise, since you want to get that screenshot and they told you how to do it, let me go ahead and flip it again so you can screenshot. All right. Just because I think something doesn't make it true. Let me know when you have that. Because this is what cognitive behavioral therapy is all about. So again, I hope you got it. I wanted to swing it back around to me. But again, that's where CBT comes in. Your thoughts affect your emotions, which affect your actions or your behavior. So CBT helps you to, again, identify the negative thought or the anxiety-provoking thought, challenge and reframe that thought. You're welcome, Denise. So you then challenge and reframe that thought into something more realistic. And then you can change the behaviors. Okay? So I gave you one example, another example, because I want to just drive this home. But another example, you were at home, and this might hit home for some people. You're at home, you're scrolling through social media, and you see a group of your friends out at a party. And then you go check your phone and say, they didn't text me. They didn't invite me. And then you start to what? You feel left out. You feel maybe rejected. You might even feel not good enough. And then what is the behavior that comes behind that? Either you'll avoid those friends, you won't talk to them, you'll give them a cold shoulder, or you might text them, oh, for real, this is what we're doing? Y'all not inviting me? Oh, y'all too good for me to come out? Like, what's wrong with me? There's a behavior that comes out. But it started with a situation that brought on a thought, and then a feeling, and then you behave a certain way. That is what CBT works on. Help you to reframe that thought. So the thought, if you reframe it, you can go, well, wait a minute. Let me pause and challenge this thought. I know I'm a good person. Okay, good, Erica. I was just reading your comment. I know you can challenge the thought, I am not a bad person, and people do enjoy my company. Because that might be something you tell yourself. Well, I guess I'm not as good of a friend as I thought I was, or nobody likes me, or what have you. Then you can challenge it. I'm a pretty good person. Maybe they had already planned this. Or maybe you could just give yourself another way to look at that situation so that you can behave a different way. Because if you reframe that thought to something a little bit more positive, then your response and your behavior won't be the same. You might just call and say, hey, ladies, I see y'all were out last night. Y'all had a good time. And then you can easily ask them without a whole lot of emotion, well, why ain't nobody call me? I was free. You don't have to upset yourself. So that's, again, what CBT wants to teach you. So how does it work? You identify your trigger, the situation. You examine the negative thought. You look at those emotional responses that you're having, and then you try to reframe the thought. I'm kind of restating some of this. So I want to really get down to cognitive reframing, because this is a huge, huge part of CBT. Cognitive reframing, or challenging the negative thoughts. I want to show you all some thinking traps. Some cognitive distortions. You may have heard of that. Let me switch back over. I know I'm flipping y'all all around today. Let me move this for you. And we're going to talk a little bit about these cognitive distortions. Y'all see them? Pretty good. And now we know how to, hope it doesn't move too much. And now we kind of know how to move those comments so that you can see it clearly and get your screenshots. But the cognitive distortions, or the thinking traps, that's where we fall when we're in this, let's say, anxiety, and we're trying to learn how to deal with our anxious feelings, or we're learning how to reframe the thoughts. What we're reframing are these cognitive distortions. Hey, JB Smith. Well, we kind of went over a panic attack a few sessions ago. So if I can get back to something on that, I will. But I want to keep going with this. Or you can DM me. I think I do have those classes saved if you want to take a look at those. they're broken down so you can listen to them. But the cognitive distortions, these are our irrational thoughts that shape how we see the world, how we feel, and even how we act. So catastrophizing. Some of you may have heard about catastrophizing, where you are expecting the worst case scenario. That's just what this is. The black and white thinking, seeing things as either all good or all bad, right? Then we have mind reading, and these are just a few. There are many more. But we have mind reading, where you assume that you know what other people are thinking, right? Like you just, in that example I gave you earlier, I just knew that those friends didn't want me around. I just knew that they thought I was going to bring the party down. I wasn't going to be able to catch the vibe or whatever. I just knew that. That was me mind reading. And we have to be very careful of that, making those assumptions. But overgeneralization is another one. You use one bad situation to help you predict the entire future. And then it sets you off into this trap. The should statements. Now, this is one that I talk about with my clients a lot. Eliminating that word should. But those should statements are where you make unrealistic self-expectations. I'm going to ask that you all either tap the screen or comment or something, because this TikTok be wanting to take me out if nobody's tapping and talking. They'll say we're not engaging. I know you're looking at the screen though. But yeah, the should statements. I try my best to share with my clients and get them to eliminate the shoulds. Like take that should out of your statement, because thank you all, once you say I should do something, you're putting a different level of pressure on yourself. And you feel like a failure when you don't do that thing. So if you can rephrase that instead of I should be further along in life by now. All right. How about we change that to I would like to be a little further ahead. And then you can start looking at how to make that happen. That should, that's a shame because I do it a lot. I do a lot of these. Most of us do a lot of these. Most of us do a lot of these. But it's now what we're doing in this class is bringing more awareness to the way we think, how we deal with certain situations. We're just bringing that awareness. But the should one, I'm stopping here for a minute because I know a lot of us do the shoulds. And I want you to take those shoulds out of your statements. Hey, Anna, take the shoulds out. Should, that word should makes you feel so pressured, so overwhelmed, so under the gun. And you're putting these unrealistic expectations on yourself. Should by whose measure? It just means, Maritza, it means you're human, baby. You're human. And we all can get caught up in some cognitive distortions and some thinking traps. That's all. It doesn't mean something is wrong with you. This is not what we're talking about in this class. Nothing is wrong with you. We are human and we fall in these traps sometimes. But if you get anything from tonight, I want you to take the shoulds out of your sentences. And when you catch yourself saying, I should, when you catch yourself doing that, change that word. Okay? You're welcome. And the last one that I have on here is emotional reasoning, assuming that your emotions reflect the way things really are. Because not true. And JB Smith, you said you do the what if? Mm-hmm. Now, if you do the what ifs, because a lot of us do the what ifs. Well, what if? And it's usually what if and something bad, right? What if, insert something bad. Let's change the what if. Let's change that insertion after the what if. What if it goes correct? It goes right. What if things do turn in my favor? What if I go to class and I do make an A? What if my presentation is just off the charts and everybody loves it? What if? If I'm going to what if myself, how about I what if myself into a good place? Or change it to even if. Absolutely. That's where we're really getting into reframe and be done. If we change that what if to even if. Even if I make a D on this test. Even if I will continue to study and I will bring my A game next time. Even if. Right? And I put my little quote down here again. Just because I think something doesn't make it true. We have to challenge these thoughts. We have to put them on trial. Okay? Everybody get what I'm putting down here? So as we challenge these thoughts, step one, catch the thought. And then I want you to put it on trial. Let me flip y'all back. Okay. And we're back. Okay. So you catch the thought, right? The automatic thought. What am I telling myself right now? That should be one of your questions. Your grandson is in that situation. Well, teach him this. Teach him this. If you catch that negative thought, and they're automatic negative thought, they just come up out of nowhere sometimes. Ask yourself first question, what am I telling myself right now? All right, be done. Take them captive. Absolutely. Francie, self-work is nerve-wracking, but it must be done. It is. To work on. Oh my God, I saw my word. I didn't get a chance to say it. Emerald. Ants. Absolutely. I'm going to say something about that. That's my favorite word. I used to use it with my kids when they were younger. You have to extinguish these ants, these automatic negative thoughts. Get rid of the ants. But yeah, that self-work, it is so important, and it can be nerve-wracking. Oh my God, it can get you so down because you're like, am I ever going to get this together? Why do I keep going through this? It feels so tiring sometimes, but it gets better the more you work on it. You are going to be your biggest project to work on ever in life. You are. Maritza, taking them captive, that you catch them. You catch yourself thinking that thought, and then you examine it. Hold on. Don't let it just run free in your head and cause you to feel a certain way and then behave a certain way, because that's that triangle we were talking about. You catch that thought, and then you ask yourself, what am I telling myself right now? Where's this coming from? What am I telling myself? And then 2, fact check. It's a lot of stuff going out nowadays. Well, it's been like that. We don't fact check. We just run with the story. So when you capture that thought, you got to fact check it next. All right. Is there actual evidence for this? That's the one question. Would I say this to a friend? Because last week, I think it was last week, I said most times we're nicer and kinder to a friend when they're in a situation than we are to ourselves. So if your friend give you this story and tell you all of these things about what they're thinking, you'll be quick to say, oh no, girl, don't, that's not true. Come on, you remember that time, da-da-da-da-da. Oh girl, hold on now. Not every man is, or whatever, right? You'll do that for your friend, but when it's us, we just roll right along with the ants. So, capture that thought. Fact check it. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? What am I thinking? Is there actual evidence for this? And what would I tell a friend? Thank you, Trishina. I don't even know. I really don't even know. I done had this since in January, and I watched it twice, so, Anyway, and that might scare some people, but if you know, you know. And then another question to ask yourself, what is a more balanced way to look at this? Okay. That's you fact checking. And then when we move from that, when we move from the fact checking, you ask yourself those questions, then I want you to move to reframing the thought, replacing it with a more rational, helpful, alternative thought, right? So I'm going to give you some examples, and I want you to, in the chat, write for me a way to reframe this thought, a rational reframe of the thought. So this example, they don't like me. They don't like me. That's the example. That's the negative thought. How would you reframe that? Anybody just put something in the chat for me. Actually, I'm going to give you a couple of them. You choose which one you want to reframe. I'll fail this test. They don't like me. Or I'll embarrass myself. Thank you, Shannon. They don't know me. How you gonna sit up here and say they don't like you? They don't even know you. Okay, come on. I want some more people to give us something in the chat. Reframe that negative thought. This is you practicing. Yeah, you're practicing with me, JB. You're practicing with me, but I want you to also use this in your day-to-day life. She said, I'm gonna have a ball. That I'll embarrass myself, right? That's a way to reframe that. I'm gonna have a ball. Erica, I didn't do my best this time, but next time I'll be prepared. Absolutely, because the other thought was I failed a test. Francie, they actually love me. Okay, somebody said what you said. I'll do my best on the test and I will pass. Absolutely. There we go. And of course, right now, it might seem real easy to do this. But when you're actually in that moment where you're having these thoughts, it can feel difficult. You just have to practice it. I'll study more and I'll score higher next time. All right, come on. Come on. Y'all like my little purple tea? So relaxing. So relaxing. So that's reframing. That's what I need you all to do. So in your notebook, if you're taking your notes for the class, I want you to write down this challenge. This is about reframing. So think of a recent anxious thought that you had or negative thought that you had. And then how would you reframe it? So you're going to have to sit with that thought for a minute. You don't have to do this now, but your takeaway as you work on yourself this week and the weeks to come, let that be something you pay attention to and you start to implement for yourself. Okay. All right. Let me move on to my next thing. So we talked about CBT. It is the gold standard of treating anxiety and a lot of other mental health diagnoses, right? CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, because it all begins with a thought. And you saw the triangle. You have a situation that occurs, and then you have that thought. From that thought, you have some emotions. Then you feel this way, and because I feel this way, now I got to act this way. Because they were over there in that corner, and they were talking. As soon as I passed by, they stopped talking. So now I'm feeling like, oh, they talking about me. Oh, they don't like me. Oh, what's going on? So my behavior might be, I'm going to run up on them. Because who you talking about? Or my behavior might be, I ain't got nothing else to say. Next time they walk past me, I'm not speaking back. Because I saw them over there talking. You don't even know. Just because you think it doesn't make it true. You saw them talking, then you saw them turn and look. That doesn't mean they were talking about you. Maybe they were talking and they were just seeing who passing by. They not necessarily pointed at you. But that's how you was perceived, and that's what you went with. I'm trying to see if I Oh yeah, you could definitely use this. I was trying to catch any chats that I might have missed. All right, so we're moving on from CBT. Hey, Crafty, that's okay. We were just talking about CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. We talked about the cognitive triangle.
Here's the forecast for
I
tomorrow.
keep doing that, y'all. We talked about the cognitive triangle and our cognitive distortions, or those thinking traps that we get in. All right, so number 2 on my things that could help would be medication. You've participated in CBT? Yeah, that's what I use in my practice. I use a lot of CBT, mindfulness, all of that. But medication. So I'll just speak briefly on medication because I am not one to want to tell everybody to take a med. That's just a personal thing. I don't think everybody needs medication or everybody should be on medication. I don't think it should necessarily start there. But I do know that there are benefits from it. So those who take it and they are benefiting, then that is awesome. That's great. But I wouldn't say if you come to my practice and we're in a session, I'm going to immediately say, okay, I'm referring you to a psychiatrist because you need to be on meds. No, we're going to try to work this out first. We're going to try to do a little cognitive behavioral therapy. We're going to do some mindfulness. We're going to try to do some things on your own first that may be able to help you. And if we can, and you're open to medication, then yeah, that might be another intervention for some people. So just briefly about the medication, because there is another creator who's teaching about, not necessarily about anxiety, but about mental health. And she is a nurse practitioner. And she's talked about that her name is Neka, Nne, CKA, I believe. I mentioned her before. Lexapro is good for a lot of people. Yeah. And you said Buspar. Mm-hmm. So just to briefly talk about it, because I am not a psychiatrist, but I can tell you a little bit. So some SSRIs like Prozac and Zoloft, those help to boost your serotonin, and they help more long term, right? I will say, and we haven't gotten to the herbs yet, but I do a lot of herbal stuff. I've even created some herbal teas for like anxiety and depression, for sleep, brighten up your mood, all that type of stuff. But because of, if I have anybody who's on a SSRI, I will warn them about some of the herbs. So if you are taking an SSRI and you want to do some herbal therapy or herbal remedies, make sure you consult with your provider to make sure that there are no contraindications. Okay, we don't want to mess up anything. All right. But SSRIs are one way. Benzodiazepines, another one, like Xanax and your Ativans. Those can act real fast. However, they can be very addictive. So be very mindful of that. You might have been, I don't know anybody in here, but you might have been like getting ready for a surgery or at an office visit or a hospital visit for something going on, and you felt really, really nervous. They may have given you a little bit of Ativan or something to calm you down because it acts fast. But again, those can be addictive. So you want to be very mindful and talk to your provider if you have a history of addiction or maybe addictive personality, addiction in the family. That's something to discuss before you take some medicine like that. Then you have other things like beta blockers that will help with any physical symptoms of anxiety, like the racing heart, the shakiness, and things of that nature. All right. So the pros of this, they can reduce the anxiety symptoms significantly, and especially if you have the right dose and you've gone through that period of time where you have to adjust, they can really help. They can definitely help in cases where the therapy alone isn't enough and you need a little bit more. Maybe you need that to balance out your mood so that you can engage in the CBT process, because it does take a lot of mental work. You have to be self-motivated to do this stuff and to call your thoughts out and to check them and take them captive. You have to be motivated, and sometimes you may need another medication or some type of intervention to help balance your mood so you can be present and you can do the mindfulness. So that's what I'll say about that. As far as cons, just like your typical medicines that you take, they can cause some side effects, some fatigue, nausea, vomiting, weight changes. I've heard difficulty sleeping, sleeping too much. That can happen. Some medicines take a while to start to work for you to really start to feel it. That could be a con. Also, they're not a permanent fix. They're just not. Thanks, JB. You definitely will still need some medication. You will still need some therapy and some lifestyle changes to go along with it. I wouldn't suggest just take the med, pop that pill, and you'll be okay. No. Let's talk this stuff out and let's do some lifestyle changes so that we can be okay for the long run. You said the weight is real crafty. I've definitely heard that a lot. That has been a complaint about the medication. So what's your opinion? So I have some questions as we go along. What's your opinion on anxiety medications? And do you think it's overused or underused? I would like for y'all to chime in and tell me what you all think. You know what? I hate the lag between asking the question and then waiting for a response, because it seems like we ain't got nothing going on. Yeah, gaining that weight is a good motivation to promote physical activity if you have that type of motivation, because some people will sit there and talk about gaining and still won't do anything. That's why we got to do the CBT and talk therapy. A lot of people saying overused. I think that too, honestly. That's my opinion as a professional in this field. Natural first, I think, is over. I don't think they're a fix either, Marissa. It's the immediate go-to instead of exploring other options. Right. I think they're overused. Most of us, I think, agree that we think it's overused, and we need to try to explore other options for people, especially, as the provider, as a therapist. I think it's important for us to explore other options. Oh, what tea? This is what did I put in here? Butterfly pea, lavender, and a little bit of lemon balm. Just some calming, because I was kind of moving around a little bit. So let me calm down so I can come and do this. So they didn't even mention CBT to you. I don't have your name showing. Period. I don't know if that's your name, but you said you would put on meds, anxiety meds, and no mention of CBT. It is, Grace. It's really good. Well, yeah, CBT is a really good one. But meds can be helpful for some people. I don't necessarily believe that it has to be your go-to thing. I know it can help. So next one that I have on my list is the mindfulness. Training your brain to chill. So of course, mindfulness, and we've talked about this in classes before, but I want to go over it again as another technique or another thing that can help with anxiety. Mindfulness. Someone that has tried therapy, meds, nothing worked, anxiety, depression, PTSD triggers from SA. So if that is the case and you feel like nothing is working for you or that person, then you might have to look at something more intensive. And I would say something like EMDR, which is good for PTSD and trauma. Let me put my thing on Do Not Disturb. Okay, I think I got it. There you go, Erica. She's answering. Yeah, absolutely. But mindfulness, it is the opposite of anxiety. Instead of worrying about the future, it trains your brain to stay in the present moment. Brain spotting is another one. Good. So some mindfulness techniques, of course, some of those that we've already talked about. Meditation. And again, it's not about clearing your mind. It's about observing your thoughts without judgment. So you can sit quietly for 5, 10, 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be long at first. You just want to get in the habit of being able to take a time out. Press pause, take a time out, give yourself that moment to just be. You can notice your thoughts, you can observe your thoughts, but you do not have to engage in the thought. Okay, you don't have to engage in the thought. So that's what mindfulness is about, or meditation is about. Okay, you all keep on tapping it and commenting so we can keep this thing rolling, please, because I don't want to have to stop. Body scans. We talked about body scans before. I had you all do a progressive muscle relaxation exercise, but that's a body scan you can do where you just sit and notice during your meditation, even before you go deep into it. Just sit and notice what you're feeling in your body. Isolate each body part if you can, and just notice if you feel any tension there. You can start at your feet, feeling the ground up under your feet, feeling the carpet under your feet, wherever you're sitting. Notice that, feel that. And, then go up your legs. Just scan your body, see if you're holding any tension there. You might get up here and then realize your shoulders been jacked up to your ears this whole time. You stressing, you overwhelmed. Like, baby, let them go. Relax. Take a deep breath. And then on that exhale, you just let everything go. Okay? You might notice that your stomach, you're kind of holding your stomach tight. If you notice that, take your deep breath, relax, and let that stomach hang. I don't care how big it is. If you're like me and you have a little pouch right there, in public, people might not know you have a pouch because you suck that thing in so good. But as soon as you turn the corner and nobody there, you let it out. That's what you got to do when you do your body scan. Okay? Just let it out. Having anxiety while having a conversation. Yes, stop and ask yourself, what am I telling myself? What am I telling myself? Because it starts with a thought. Maybe you feel like you don't know enough to contribute to this conversation. Maybe you're telling yourself, oh, they gonna find me out. They're going to know that I'm not that smart, or they're going to know that whatever, fill in the blank. But what are you telling yourself, Maritza, if you start feeling anxious during the conversation? And then reframe that thought. Also, who are you talking to? Does it happen with every conversation? Does it happen to specific people? You got to explore it. Okay? And the other mindfulness activity that that I have on my list of notes is journaling. I know you're welcome. I know some people, oh, I don't want to journal. That doesn't help. Journaling helps you to process your emotions. And it helps you to just kind of download some of that stuff. Get it out of you so that you're not spiraling with these thoughts. Driving or just sitting sometimes. Living my best life. I definitely talked about some of this, or what you have here on your in your comment. I want you to go back and look at some of those videos. But definitely try journaling, you guys, because it helps you to process those emotions instead of just going through and just letting that thought spiral. Because once we get that negative thought, one thing about it, it's like a magnet. It just spirals and collects some more negativity to feed itself. And it's become this big thing, and it's overwhelming, and you feel just suffocated by it. So we have to pause. We got to get that stuff out, journal it. You can write it and burn it. If you can do that in a safe way, you can write it and bury it, whatever you need to do, or you can write it, go back, process those emotions. Or if you're in therapy, write it and go into your session and talk about it. Because a lot of times what I found that sometimes clients will come in, we're talking, or I start the session, and I don't know what I want to talk about. But you done went through hell all last week. Now you come in here, don't know what to talk about. So I suggest, okay, write it down. I want you to keep your journal. And when we come in session, pull out your journal. Let's just go from there. And that's a good way to get some of that stuff out, and then we can process it in our sessions. Somebody said they like coloring. Yes, I have at least 2 or 3 coloring apps on my phone. Just sit down and color by number. It is a vicious cycle, Taco Bella. So I want you, as we're talking about this and as we're thinking about it, because ultimately you have to build your whole anxiety management plan. Think about some of these things that you're going to do, right? Are you going to do some meditation? Maybe try that. Do some body scans, progressive muscle relaxation, do some journaling, coloring, as somebody mentioned. Write down some of the things you're willing to try so that you can get your plan together. But we definitely want to do the thought reframing. That has to be number one. We got to catch that thought. We got to try to see if it's fact. Is there any evidence to support this thought? And then we have to reframe it. What's an alternative thought? Absolutely, I suggest counseling. I absolutely. Jayla, why we tearing up? I definitely suggest counseling, because talking it out and getting to understand yourself and your thought process and how those thoughts impact your behaviors is important. And sometimes we can't do that with that's okay, Jayla, just come on in. Sometimes we can't do that with a friend. Sometimes we can't do that with a parent. We might need that stranger with that unbiased person to help us to sift through some of that stuff. And sometimes it might be about our closest friends or family. So we don't want to go to them, because then we might turn into a brawl. We don't know. If I really tell you how I feel right now in this moment, because I haven't processed these emotions, if I really tell you how I feel, I don't know what's going to happen. It might be a crash out moment. I don't know. So yeah, I suggest therapy. Oh, Eric, I'm so glad this came to you when you needed it. That's awesome. So yeah, write down those things that you all are willing to try. Some pros. Let's talk about the pros of the mindfulness. The pros, they have definitely been scientifically proven to lower your stress and anxiety. Okay, scientifically proven. You can do them anytime, anywhere. You could be sitting in your car before you go into that job and take a moment. Let's just pause. Because I'm about to go in here, and I know Shirley going to come around there talking, and I don't feel like it today. But just take your moment. or I'm going to go in here and I know that boss going to be down my throat about blah, blah, blah. I don't take you a moment. This can be done anywhere. Every Tuesday at 6, living my best life. But this is week 5, so we only have 3 more weeks to go. I did an 8-week class on this. Okay. Also, another pro, it strengthens your prefrontal cortex. Now, we talked about the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, right? If we can strengthen this prefrontal cortex, we can make some rational decisions. Or else, the amygdala, Amy, is going to be off and running. If anybody saw my video, I posted, I think it was Friday. It was just regular old TikTok post. Who do you think was showing up in that video? Yeah, Crafty, her name is Amy. But based on that video that I posted on Friday, just a regular old TikTok video, what character do you think I was playing in that video? This is a quiz, Jayla. Anybody? That's if you saw the video. I'm not going to answer it either because somebody saw that video. A couple of people from this class commented on the video, so I want to know who was I. And we're talking about, when I say who, what character? A brain structure. I'll look back when in a few minutes to see if anybody answered. But some cons of mindfulness is that it takes practice. It definitely takes practice. It feels weird. It feels ineffective in the beginning. You feel like, okay, what am I doing? And listen, you don't even have to do all of this. Just sit and be still. Be present. Be here. But that's a con because it does feel awkward. It feels strange at first, and it definitely takes practice. Also, sometimes it can be very hard to stick to consistently. But you just have to be determined, be intentional about creating your pause. You have to put a pause in your day every day, okay? The other technique, things that help manage your anxiety, right? That's what we're talking about. These proven treatments that work. So the other one I want to talk about is, hold on, I moved past my notes. Thank you, Leisha. Yes. You want to talk? Yeah. You know, Amy, she ready to pop off. I was acting like Amy for real. So we talked about mindfulness, movement. That's my next one. Movement is another treatment that can help you manage anxiety. Any place where we can review your class? Yeah, it's on my page. And just go. If you aren't following me, follow me and go and you'll see the videos. I keep saying I'm putting up this YouTube. I am going to do it, y'all. I'm going to put up this YouTube, I'll start this channel and load my classes there. All right, movement. This is anxiety, your natural medicine for anxiety, okay? Just getting your body to move. Moving your body literally reduces your anxiety. And it kind of helps you to burn off those stress hormones. You have a 5-year-old with high anxiety. Get them moving. You think so, Crafty? My YouTube will go crazy? You know, listen, I'm a human being. So I feel a lot of the stuff that you all feel. So sometimes I feel a little nervous or anxious about stuff like that. Even coming on here and doing this, I'm like, oh my gosh, so many people. Oh my gosh. But then why are you talking like that to yourself? If it was anybody else, you'd be telling them, girl, go do it. Or do it. You should do it. So, yeah. I will get on it. I will get on it. Thank you. Thank you, Alexandra. So, our natural medicine, movement. You're welcome, Weight Loss Candy Queen. That's my nickname, Candy. So the best types of movement for anxiety, and I think I went over this maybe in week 2. I'm kind of losing track here. Oh, thank you, Crafty. The best types of movement, cardio. So running, dancing, cycling, all of these boost your endorphins, right? And it helps you to burn off that adrenaline. Doing cardio, doing strength training, it helps to increase your dopamine and your serotonin. Strength training. And then if you are doing like yoga and Tai Chi, that activates our parasympathetic nervous system. That's our body's chill mode. And I've talked about this before. But that activates the parasympathetic nervous system so we can dial it down, relax our body, right? The pros of these, instant results. Instant results. Even if you do a 10-minute walk, that can lower your stress. And while you're on that 10-minute walk, let's add some to it. On that 10-minute walk, do a 5 senses mindfulness activity. While you're walking, 5 things you can hear or see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel. Go through it and do that on your walk. You are significantly lowering your stress. Also, it helps with your sleep. This movement helps with your sleep, helps with your focus, and definitely helps with your mood. Oh, a nature walk sounds so good right now. Although I'm scared of just about everything in nature. But I would definitely go on one. And I would just, keep Amy in check. I won't think every stick is a snake. So some cons about the movement would be the motivation to actually do it, right? It's hard to stay motivated when you're anxious. Okay, it's on the trail. All right, just stay on the path. Stay on the path. I just keep telling myself as I'm walking, stay on the path. Don't look over there. It might be a snake. Come back on. And another one, another con, it could take time to feel those long-term benefits. So you just have to be consistent with it, the movement. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I don't work out. I try sometimes, and then I always fall off. But this year might be my year. I might get out there and really do it because I like dancing. And so if I could just be consistent, I might be able to do this thing. Hey, Natalie, if you are in Georgia, yes, we are accepting new clients, new patients. It's myself and 3 other therapists. But for sure, if you're in Georgia, yeah, reach out to us. I posted a little flyer like thing today it has my contact information on there. Okay? And that goes for anyone. It's myself. It's a fully women-owned and operated practice. We are here in Georgia. And if you're good with virtual, we do virtual therapy, exclusively virtual. We're here. We take insurance. We take self-pay if you're interested. But that's not what this was about. But I just want to share that for anybody else who may be interested. You need to find a good dance. When you find one like Leisha, send it to me. Because I saw a couple on here, but I was already in the bed with my bunny on, so I wasn't getting back up when I saw that. That's when I was, just scrolling through. But I like dance, so I could get up and do that, But I haven't. So, in your notebook, what's one type of movement you could add to your routine? For me, I'll say the dance, right? Because we're building our management plan, right? So make sure you have that down. What type of movement, just one type of movement you can add to your routine, right? And laughing at me like. Okay, so pros and cons of alternative remedies. All right, I think I already mentioned this, but since I'm here sipping and watching, boots on the ground. You know what? Okay, I'm going to get back to this. I'm so easily distracted sometimes. I got to dance. I'm waiting on my fan. So I ordered my fan. I thought it was on its way. And honey, I got a little notification saying delayed. Why? Give me my fan because I need to, I want to. Wait a minute now, Anyway, pros and cons of alternative remedies. Herbal teas and supplements. Let's talk about those. I'm trying. Some herbs like lavender, lemon balm, and chamomile, they definitely have common effects. Butterfly pea tea, and it's not PEA. Butterfly pea is calming. Again, chamomile, the lemon balm, the lavender, all of those are very, very calming. You can make teas out of this. Like, I just went in my little, because, I think I have an apothecary down there. I went in and got me a little bit of lavender, got a little bit of the butterfly pea, and added some lemon balm and just made my tea. It does help you to relax and just soothe into whatever the next activity is. We want to be in flow. So everything doesn't do that to us. You take the magnesium glass. Okay, I don't take that. I have, but I don't take it like regularly enough to say I take it. But here's the, I guess, con of it all. Most of them are not, as far as the herbs, are not FDA regulated. And they can interfere. Remember I was talking about the SSRIs or other medications, they can interfere with medications. So if you do go the herbal route, make sure you consult with whoever's prescribing your medication. Let them know what's in your teas that you're drinking or whatever supplement you're taking. Let them know before, or you're considering taking. Let them know so you can know if you can do it or not. Like for me, I have one person that purchased teas from me, and I know she's on the SSRI. She shared that with me. So I just kind of tailored her tea for her. So it doesn't have anything like St. John's wort. That's a good one for anxiety, right? Ashwagandha. I don't put St. John's wort in her blend because I know she's on the SSRI. But she had to talk to her doctor about that. You said, what's this butterfly pea, and lavender and lemon balm. That's what's in here. The purple color is from the butterfly pea. And if you add a little citrus or lemon in it, I put a couple of squeezes of lemon and it turned it purple because it's going to be blue initially. Do your teas work better than chamomile? Well, my teas have more ingredients than just chamomile. I'll say that. And I think they work really, really well. More you might want to add more, Maritza. You might want to add more to it, not just the chamomile. Okay? But yeah, mine definitely have more. Francie, I just posted, it's like a little flyer I just posted today. If you go to my page, my contact information is on there. If you'd like to refer somebody. Or, y'all, I'm really not promoting. Oh my goodness. Okay, y'all got to start tapping because this thing's trying to make me, I knew that was going to happen because we got to talking and not, but we were talking, so I don't know. Okay, there we go. Okay, Locke, do what you got to do. I'll see you next week. Because we're just going over these last few things anyway. Yeah, we're just going through the last few things. All right, there we go. We're back on, guys. What was I saying? I was talking about... Oh, you wanted to book your friend or have your... Yeah, just share my information and she'll reach out to us. YourWayOutLLC.com is the website if she wants to book with any of my therapists. I'll have to see if I have room for anybody else, but they're all really, really, really good. Okay. But yeah, if she's here in Georgia, we can definitely talk with her and see how to get her taken care of. So that was the herbal teas and supplements. Now, cold exposure. And I briefly spoke about this last week, but ice bath showers, doing cold water on your face, holding an ice cube in your hand, that grounds you. It keeps you mindful and in the moment, and it'll pull you away from the anxious thought. All right, those are some things you can do. It actually produces this diver's reflex that we talked about last week by shocking your nervous system, and it helps to rapidly reduce anxiety. Okay, you say I can't. A cold plunge, I don't know if I can either. I'll hold the ice, and I've done the water on my face type of deal, but I don't know. Whew. I might have to do it one day though. You said the tappers, are you talking about EMDR? Just learning about therapy tappers. Just look up, I don't know where you are, so look up writer EMDR in your area, and you're likely to find somebody that offers that. So, and that I was actually going to talk about EMDR or tapping next. That it's a EFT, emotional freedom technique, but they might do that in EMDR. More than likely they will. But they have so many other interventions and techniques that they use with that therapy, the EMDR. But tapping can help. There are studies that suggest that it helps to reduce your anxiety. There is what they say more research to be done, but it is worth the try, because what you're doing, you're tapping on certain meridian points. And this is kind of where the science and psychology taps into, in my opinion, the metaphysics and spiritual side. But you're tapping on certain meridian points, and it's said that these meridian points may store emotion, may hold emotion. You know, I'm doing them out of order. But if you're tapping on these points, you're helping to release those emotions, those trapped emotions, right? I'm trying to remember. There we go. And then we go up here. And there are other ones. But those, it's supposed to help, you know, relieve the anxiety and kind of distance you from the negative or the anxious thought that you're having. So you might, and I think I have a video, you might have to scroll till you get to it, talking about EFT. You said it is helping you? Good, Turtle. It can help. But sometimes when you're doing, you have this like starter statement. Although I feel nervous about this presentation, I know I'm going to do well and I'm prepared. Maybe you'll say that. And then you just start tapping. Although I feel nervous about this presentation, I know I've done well and I'm prepared. And then you just keep, you know, going around doing it and do the thing. All right. But I have a video on it, but there's so many people with videos about EFT. All right. All right. Have you tried any alternative anxiety treatments? That's the next question. Have you tried any alternative anxiety treatments, and what worked for you or what didn't work? Y'all remember to keep tapping on the screen and commenting so they don't kick us off. What has worked for any of you? I'm getting ready to wrap up, okay? So, as we wrap, because again, our purpose today was to talk about these different treatments that work and for you to start identifying some so you can build your anxiety management plan. So as we wrap, I want you to pick one treatment from the categories. I'm going to say them again, and try that over the next week or two, or just put it in your toolbox to use. This is part of your plan. So one from mindset, that the category is mindset. So pick something from that. That will be your CBT, your journaling, your thought reframing, all right? Pick something from that. And then also something that's body-based, like body scanning, progressive muscle relaxation, exercise, deep breathing, yoga. Excuse me. Try that. And then look at lifestyle. Either meds, herbal remedies, reducing your caffeine, social support, increasing your workout. I know I said body already, but that can be a lifestyle change for you to start doing that. All right? So pick a treatment from those categories, add that to your anxiety management plan, and try to practice this. Everybody buy a fan, Crafty. I know, I'm waiting on my fan. Maybe we'll go live and join, have some people join, and we'll just do that in a class. That'll count as movement, right? And socialization, although, you know, it's via the screen, but we're still socializing. Boots on the ground. Yeah, I can't sing, but don't worry about that. All right, that is it, class. That is it. That is all. That was, well, I was going to say short and sweet, but that was the full hour. Just know that, you know, not every treatment works for everybody, but you have to try some of these things out. And at first it may feel weird. It might feel, you know, it's like, I don't want to do this. I'm looking crazy. No, you're not. You're taking care of yourself. And that's what's most important. Niecy Nash. No, I don't. Do I? But yeah, just take care of yourself. Always schedule your pause in your day. Find a way to pause. Press pause and just have a moment. Just be still and get yourself together. Pay attention to what you're thinking. Capture those thoughts. Question them. Look for evidence. And then reframe it. Okay? That's what you just around my mouth. Okay. But yeah, that's what I want y'all to do. Take a pause. Take a pause. And remember the thinking traps. I need to go over those again. Y'all got it? Oh, thank you. How you doing? Thank you. The thinking traps, those cognitive distortions. Y'all remember. Check yourself if you start catastrophizing. Check yourself if you start thinking with that black and white thinking, or the mind reading, or the overgeneralization, or the emotional reasoning. And then my favorite, not really, the shoulds. Take the shoulds out of your sentences this week. Take the shoulds out. Don't say I should this or I should in a way that makes you feel overwhelmed and stressed and burdened down. Take the shoulds out. I would like to. Even saying I would like to feels lighter coming out of your mouth. Try it. Say I should be further along. And then say I would like to be further along. It feels lighter. There's vibration in these words. So be mindful, okay? But that is it. That is all, y'all. We made it to the end of class. I'll see y'all next week. All right? Bye. Y'all take care.